I've changed everything in our homeschool this year, and that includes how I organize our morning time, our family work. So in this video, I'm sharing how I'm organizing our family subjects, which subjects we're doing, and I can't even show you a morning basket because I really have like a morning cabinet. So I'm gonna go share that with you right now. So here is our cabinet. And up here, I actually have our sand trays, well, some of them stored. This is a sand tray that's open. It's got some kinetic sand in here, and we're gonna be utilizing this for our geography work. So here we go. We've got art supplies, but right now I'm just showing you what we're doing on Monday is Plutarch, and then our citizenship. This is the Young Citizens Reader, and then our Plutarch Project Volume 1 Revised. So I bought copies for each child of the books that we're going to be doing together. I found that in the past I've not done this, and it does help to have every kid with their own copy. Another thing that was great about the CMEC is they have these for the Plutarch. Obviously the Plutarch Project by Ann White is really useful, but the CMEC has these guides that help you, and then also have maps that you can print off to see what is going on and where you are. So I'm very excited for us to be able to have some maps to go over before we start our Plutarch reading. I also have the Living Science Study Guide. We're doing magnets. This is the guide that Sabbath Mood Homeschool puts together, Nicole Williams from A Delectable Education. And I'll just let you flip through a little bit here. She has it broken down by days and weeks, and I actually am just doing like 2 of the lessons each week with 2 of my Form 2 children. So there's a little natural history where they read from this book, and then they have an activity, and then I'm going to walk them through this activity. And I have another supply that I'm actually still compiling all the supplies for this study, and it's actually going to live in this cabinet as well. Then you'll see I have all of our notebooks here. We actually have a science notebook that the students will pull out when they're doing their experiments, and they'll be able to record that. So that's our Monday. We've got Plutarch, citizenship, and then our science. And I'm doing it on Mondays because my mom has my youngest children on Mondays. So then we will be able to get some of that harder reading in that I'm not able to do when we have so many distractions. My older students can sit longer and listen longer, and they'll have their books that they'll be able to read along with. So I'm really excited for Mondays, just for everyone. The younger kids are gonna have fun with my mom, and the older kids will have fun with me. Okay, so now you see I have Constitution, a reader here, and then I also have a child's first book of American history. So these are going to be the 2 books that we're kind of going through this year for our history reading. And then we will be keeping our Book of Centuries. This is the Book of Centuries that is available at Riverbend Press. They have a lined page, and you can see over here, they've got these numbers. That's based on decade. So it's easy, it makes it easy to put in, you know, what you found. And then this page is actually supposed to act as a museum for the century. So as students come across different things, they can draw it in there. And then I actually have pulled some books for the 2 time periods that we are studying. This is City, A Story of Roman Planning by David Macaulay. And then I have this ancient Rome. We're doing Rome, and we're doing the 18 to 1900, like the 1800 time period. So I've got Frontier Living. This is by Edwin Tunis, and this is all like line drawing stuff. And then brown paper school U.S. history, book of New American of the New American Nation. This also has a lot of really great drawings from the time period that they will be able to copy into their book of centuries. One thing I wanted to show you, I didn't know about the back here. There's a bunch of blank pages in the book of centuries that can actually be utilized for drawing maps. So it's kind of a fun tip. Okay, so I pulled this basket from down below. This actually has all of our clay modeling supplies that we're going to need. I haven't opened them yet, but I ordered this on Amazon, and see, this says medium. This is for actually my older students, and then this one says soft. This one's for the younger students. It's not going to be as difficult for them to work with. And then these are the mats that were recommended on the CMEC website. And then I also bought these tools. This was kind of a little kit you can just buy. And I should have maybe opened it beforehand. So these little tools for them to do the detail work that they're going to need to do. And then you'll notice I do have some Play-Doh here. This was a birthday gift for my 4-year-old. But I actually thought it would be fun to keep these together so that she can have her own supplies that will keep her occupied while we're trying to do our more fine work with the clay modeling. Now you might be like me going, what is clay modeling? Like, you're using clay? Yes, it is clay. We will have an object that we are trying to copy a 3-dimensional version of. So we'll start off with things like a seed or an almond or an apple or a orange, and then try to make the texture of those things and try to add the stem. The goal is to really start to cultivate that sense of learning to look, and that detail that we really want to be cultivating in ourselves and in our students. This again goes back to that habit of attention that Charlotte Mason always talks about. Now, I was talking with another friend who actually implements this in a school setting, and she said sometimes the kids get really frustrated because, you know, you're spending like 30 minutes trying to recreate this beautiful version of your object, and then you put it away, like you destroy it basically at the end. So she said a good tip for that is to take a picture of it. And again, setting the expectation that at the end, we're going to put this away because we're going to be reusing this clay so that we're not being wasteful, right? We don't need a million little clay versions of tiny objects. The idea is that we're cultivating something in ourselves. We're learning, we're developing a relationship with the things that we're copying. She also said something fun to do in clay modeling is small scissors or some different implements around the kitchen. So, but we're going to start off with natural objects, found objects outside, and go from there. So the next thing we're going to do on that same day, we're going to have a rotation. I have a drawing course that we're going to be doing, and then these are actually the packets for our watercolor. So we're going to also be working through some lily and thistle lessons on watercolor. These are just all of our brushes. Okay, so that moves us on to geography. And this book here is our geography book. Let's pull it out so you can take a look at it. This was reprinted by Yesterday's Classics. And these are the readings that we're gonna do. But that is not all. The CMEC website actually has these guides that you can print off that go with them. So I printed off the guide that the CMEC website has for this book. And what's awesome about the guide is, first of all, it has the modern, like when the book was written, it has the maps so that you can kind of see how things change over time. But then they also have these notes and then map questions that will help me prepare the students as we are looking at our maps. But then they also have this awesome recommendation for these atlases. I have to tell you, I had a hard time finding atlases like these for years. I was looking and they found them. What's great about these atlases is that they will lay pretty flat. See, I can just lay it down. But then you'll notice they're simple. They don't have a bunch of call outs. They're not just totally distracting. And they also show the mountain ranges for what you're looking at. And that is so helpful because we're going to be utilizing our sand trays so that students will be looking at their map and then they can, with the sand, try to recreate the shape of the map in the sand. And isn't that fun? That's just such a different, it's a higher just tactile experience than just drawing it. You're building it, you're reconstructing it, you're kind of in some ways joining God and his creative power where he formed this land. So I am really excited for kind of that multi-sensory component to our geography. And then after, so what we do is we look it up on the map first, then we go to our reading. And they even have some extra things where they're giving us links of things to look up. So we might do that as well. And then we have our geography notebooks. And then we will draw the map in our journals. Now, we don't do that every single time. Like we may, instead of drawing, we may just do the sand tray work. But we have the journals. We will be utilizing these a lot. So I'm very excited. Actually, my kids are really excited too for our geography time. The CMEC has made it amazing for us, and it's going to make it so much more vibrant than just reading the book. Other thing we're going to be doing is Shakespeare, and you'll notice this is A Winter's Tale, the Dover Thrift Edition. These are like $2 to $4 per copy, and it is the full text, and we will be reading through it. So I actually purchased a picture book retelling of A Winter's Tale, and we're going to read this first. You can see the images. I like a good picture book. Help me know what in the world is going on with the storyline. And then after we get a sense of the story, we will probably draw a picture and like get all the characters down in our TBG journals. And then we will read this aloud, probably listening to the Archangel dramatic reading of it in combination, right? We won't do it the whole time, but it'll probably help us out there. So that's it. We're going to be doing some Shakespeare, but we're going to be doing it in a way that is simple and fun, and I think a lot more engaging than how we've been doing it. Something else new we're doing for family work this year is our French. I bought Goodnight Moon in French, and I bought The Cat in the Hat, which is actually a combo of French and English. What I'd like for the kids to do is take 1 or 2 lines and translate them. We'll do it together, but it'll just be kind of fun. They're doing Duolingo, but I wanted us to have one day a week that we were just you know, going through this worksheet together and just trying to say it out loud and trying to play with the words a little bit. I don't love worksheets, but I love Duolingo, but I thought, you know, we really need something that kind of binds us to bring us together. We will also be doing a playlist of French songs that we're going to be learning together. Obviously, Frère Jacques is an easy one to start with, but we'll be doing some others as well. So we actually have another day that I'm kind of calling our flex day, where we have literature. We're reading through the Heroes of Asgard this year. We're going to be doing the nature study hacking books that I create. We're doing birds first, and that's a new release I have coming out very soon. We have our Truth, Goodness, and Beauty notebooks that we're going to be working in with our picture study and our music. And we're going to be reading through with Dad a listener's guide to music, which is another CMEC recommendation, but really it was a Charlotte Mason recommendation. You know, some of these old books that Charlotte Mason recommended, I kind of go, is that still really the best book? But this, I mean, a lot of them really are the best still. Tried and true books that are out there on some of these subjects. Another thing we're going to get started with this year is folk dancing. So this is kind of just dances that you can do in groups. And I'm really excited about that because I love to dance, and I've found it difficult to work that into our life for some reason. So the CMEC website has a ton of resources for getting started with folk dancing, and then you can probably even look for their playlists. I will see if I can link to one down below, probably the one from last year, where you can just start learning. You just pick them up and you watch what they're doing and they tell you what to do and you just go for it. So we are going to just start with Alabama Gal, which is what we started. We tried to do a little bit in the spring when I first joined with CMEC, just trying to get a sense of everything. And then I have it written out on my master list for my morning time schedule, which dances we're going to learn, and that will just keep us on track. My goal is that we can learn a dance and then teach it to our friends at Nature Group. So I don't know, just to me, that just sounds like so much fun. All right, well, that is all I have. I know, I've got just a ton of stuff that I shared with you today from all the things that we're doing for our family work. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.